Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the PGS Esports Realistic. We are back on the Thursday evening at 8 p.m. UK time, and back with an absolute banger of a race. It is the fourth round of the season, ladies and gentlemen, and round 4 brings us to Cota, the circuit of the Americas then, here in the USA, and 14 drivers join us this afternoon, maybe some more than joining during qualifying, but as it stands, 14 people here today, and a lot of recognisable drivers returning, of course, as they usually do. We'll go right off the back of the race results then. The race results from last race, everybody, the third round of the season, where we went to Las Vegas. Las Vegas was quite a good race indeed, very good actually. And Sneaky Eel was the race winner of that one for Sneaky JP Racing. Then followed by the Fizz in second place. Lee Dog finished on the podium in third. As far as I'm aware, they should all be here today. I don't think Sneaky Eel is. The Fizz possibly. I don't think any of them are here actually, apart from Lee Dog down in 14. There's Jeffy Jones in the chat. Good afternoon, mate. Hopefully you're doing okay. Good to see you in. Hopefully you're all good. But yes, that is your race results then from the previous round, ladies and gentlemen. It is looking pretty strong for Sneaky Eel there last race, and wouldn't be too bad in the championship for him. A few drivers coming out on their outlaps then, ladies and gentlemen, here in Cota, and we will follow along with these very soon. I just want to make sure we can have a quick chat about the standings. Lee Dog is your championship leader then, ladies and gentlemen, for Raw Dog Racing. His teammate is Papa Rim, who's currently third place in the championship. So at the moment, I can assume they will be leading the Constructors' Championship as well. So it is, you know, really, really strong going for Lee Dog and for Papa Rim in Raw Dog Racing. Jay Pinto is in second place in the championship for Sneaky JP. But which way is today going to go then, ladies and gents? We will start to see that, you know, come to life when the drivers get their first times on the board this afternoon. But at the moment, I would not be able to tell you which way it's going to go. I really, really wouldn't. But I do somehow think that Lee Dog might have something to do with the top 3. We shall find out just that then, ladies and gentlemen. As 14 minutes of qualifying left. Drivers start a lap. There's heavy in the chat, in the Discord chat. As yesterday was my 56th birthday. You should all let me win this race, he says. Happy birthday for yesterday, mate. Happy birthday indeed. But 14 minutes of qualifying left then, ladies and gents. And we have still got a long session to go. Drivers starting their first laps of the day. Arctic Ryan already invalidating on his first go around. There's a few drivers in front of him then that may be on laps. Papa Rim, Wolfie plays all out on a lap at the moment. Wolfie heading himself round then and going for a quick time today. Can he get himself top 10 on times? Of course, he will be up there at the moment, but he's the first driver to put a time on the board, apart from Lee Dog, I think, who's going to cross the line now, who just started the lap. Never mind. Wolfie plays then 1:35 flat to kickstart this afternoon off. And the only driver to set a time at the moment. There is an Aston Martin coming around of Arctic Ryan, who has invalidated this time around, so this will not be a counted lap as he heads towards the line, but of course, like I said, not counted for him. There should be a Haas now towards the line as well of Akindinos, who goes into the pit lane, so that is it for him. But the train the drivers head round. Ghost, who will be setting a lap soon, unfortunately has invalidated. We've got Dave the Scrub out there and round the final few corners. Reigning world champion then. Very, very credible man here in the PGS Esports Realistic tier. He heads round the final corner. Dave's going to try and set a better time today. 1:33.3. And the gap between him and Wolfie Blaze is very large indeed. Nedzo Racing slots himself into second place in the Aston Martin. But a very strong going lap there for Dave the Scrub, the fastest man on the track here in qualifying. Only 3 drivers to set a time. There's a Red Bull over the line now. I think starting a lap. That might have been Tiger. No, never mind. It was M Bulk who starts a lap. But wow, great stuff from Dave the Scrub. Can he continue the form then is the question. Really strong start. Nedzo 2, Wolfie 3 then as some drivers towards into the pit lane actually. As Tiger B is going to head round the looping right-hander, which swings to the left-hand side for a double left towards the line. And Tiger B is going to finish this lap off. 12 minutes to go and going for a good one today. Can this be a good lap? Tiger over the line. It's P4, 136 flat for him. Now the kick Sauber of Lee Dog over the line. It is P5, 145.2. That is not a representable time, I believe. This time around will be his actual lap. But we will find out. I think this should be his actual lap now. Ladies and gents, as he heads round, somebody loses their rear. Maybe heading slowly, actually, to let somebody through. There's Nezo Racing anyway. They brought out some yellow flags there. As we were looking at Lee Dog, who is up by 800ths of a second and is finding time. Is he on the lap around this time, though? It looks like he is then. Trying to get a slipstream on the guy in front. He's got the DRS ready to be activated when he goes down to this back straight, and the ERS is being used very conservatively at the moment. As the DRS gets activated, fuel light is on. He's running as light as a feather here in Cota with 11 minutes to go. And Lee Dog, a man that is pretty successful here recently, is going to be heading round to try and set a better time. He's up by 4.8 seconds at the moment, and this is where he's finding the chunks of time that he needs, ladies and gentlemen, for that pole position. He heads around the final few corners to the looping right-hander. Can Lee Dog set a good time? Wolfie in the chat, his deck is here. I do not believe he is at the moment, Wolfie. As Lee Dog round the final two corners then, he's looking for pole, finding time, 6th position for him. Will he jump any places round the final corner then? Can Lee Dog take pole? He does take pole. 12 seconds improvement for him, and Lee Dog takes pole by 0.3 of a second then to Dave the Scrub. With 10.5 minutes of qualifying left then. Dave P2, Arctic Ryan 3. It is a strong lap from Dave. It really is. Can it be beaten though? It already has been beaten by Lee Dog, but can Dave start on the second row of the grid? Here comes Hawkeye over the line. 3rd place for him. Slots just behind Dave the Scrub. 0.3 of a second separates them then. As Rassam just starts his lap as well now. Ghost is fastest in the middle sector. Invalidates then on his lap around, unfortunately, and Ghost in the Haas invalidating on his lap around today, as he will come round and go into the pit lane most likely here then, as Akindanos is on a lap into the first sector, and apparently fastest first sector for Akindanos then, middle sector, my bad, sorry, and he's trying to get a decent time on the board then. Not a time, no time has been set for him at the moment, down in P11. With the very low fuel as well. Running extremely light then here in qualifying. Round the final corner, 10% battery to get him over the line. What has this man got in store for us today? The battery activated, fastest middle sector. 2nd place for Akindanos. A 1/10 of a second off Lee Dog here. And that man right there on your screen, very nearly taking pole position away from Lee Dog today in the kick Sauber, ladies and gentlemen. A strong time from Akindanos, really strong time. And he's on for pole today. If he can go around again, he is definitely on for pole. Lee Dog into the pit lane. Wow, Akindanos really delivering here. Dave the Scrub 3rd place, and on an out lap, he's going to want to go out again then to try and get a quicker lap on the board. Hawkeye's 4, Arctic Ryan wheeling himself into the pit lane, backing up there to fit into the pit gap. Flavor seems to be on the lap, maybe. 20% battery, though, isn't looking too good. Don't think he's on a lap. Rassam towards the line, he's invalidated. Rassam now starts another flying lap then. Here we go with this man on your screen into the left-hander. Braking hard then. Missing the apex, going a bit wide through the first corner. Using the battery as much as possible on the exit. Feeding it through the right. Then into the famous S's here then. Heads through them quite nicely, and the line is very important to get right here, to get it right for the next few set of corners, which he's heading through now. He's got most of them pretty right. He's going to head to the left-hand side here, cuts the corner a bit to get the better exit, and he's took that quite nicely. Has he found any time in the first sector? We missed the first sector. I'm not entirely sure if it was any good or not. We were spectating him through the S's. As Lee Dog goes into the pit lane, ladies and gentlemen, up at the front. Rassam invalidates his lap time. Mbuk's invalidated too. Salguero should be going into the pit lane, the fuel light on. Luke Bailey into the first corner, 20% battery, not looking good at the moment. He's going to have to try and gain some of that back. He's into 7th position at the moment. Nedzo racing in 6th, and he's found 300th of a second in Sector 1. Here he heads then into the left-hander, which backs onto the back straight, losing his rears a bit there, then a bit trigger happy on the throttle, as now he's got 45% battery to take him all the way down the back straight then, here in qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, and looking quite strong for him at the moment. DRS and ERS both being used as he cuts over the corner there, dodges an invalidation, but really did help his corner. He's found half a second on this lap around, and he's in the mid 133s at the minute. That'll be P4 if he can find this time and continue this form through to the end of the lap. The rears fly out there for Nedzo. He may have just lost all of his progress as he heads around the final few corners. Dave the Scrub on pole position, a 133 flat. Dave is back on top, everybody, with 133.046, marginally ahead of Lead Dog here. Nedzo racing towards the line. What can he do? P6, 1.5 tenth improvement. Oh man, isn't it good to see this man back on top? Dave the Scrub, the man that hasn't been doing, as well as he usually used to recently. He's on provisional pole with 6 minutes to go. Strong stuff then for Dave the Scrub with Lead Dog behind. That is Lead Dog's banker lap though. So I think Lead Dog's going to find time on that, I really do. I think actually it's quite inevitable that Lead Dog probably will find time on that at the moment, but we'll find out which way they'll swing. Still a little while left of this session for the drivers to collect themselves, get out again and give it one final shot then around the track today. Hawkeye in 4 then. And heading round on an out lap, so he'll be going on that flying lap fairly soon. 4th position for him at the moment, 2nd row of the grid. It's a strong start if he did start from there, but I'm sure he wants even higher. The gap between him and 3rd place is half a second. It's a lot to gain. It's a lot to gain, but I've got hope. I've got hope, and I think Hawkeye could do it if he puts his mind to it. He can get out of that car what he needs. Dave the Scrub in the exact same car as him, of course here with a realistic performance, has managed to put the car on pole, so it's possible at this moment in time. Hawkeye can do the same through the first corner then, and it's looking really strong at the moment. Actually, it was very nice heading through the first set of corners up towards the S's then. This time we will check the first sector line for Hawkeye VRL. Heading through the S's he goes, and it's strong so far for him. Has he found time in the middle sector? No, the first sector. No, he's down by 600ths of a second. But can he find that time back in the middle and final thirds? We will find out. Heading down towards the back straight now then. 4th place for him. Hawkeye with a 133.682. He needs half a second for 3rd place. Not looking likely at the moment after seeing his first sector. 20% battery left, now 10. Burning it all down the back straight. DRS activated too. Using all of his lifelines with the battery there as he heads into the left-hand side. Can Hawkeye try and improve in the middle sector? Apparently fastest, but he is 400ths of a second down on his previous time. And unfortunately, I just don't think this man's going to improve at the moment. The track, very quiet right now, as everybody's waiting, of course, to go out at the correct time. Only a few minutes to go, as Hawkeye will be bringing himself round the final corner then and into the pit lane to round off that qualifying for him. Will he get time to go around again? Very possibly. As here's Arctic Ryan then, ladies and gents. He's in 5th position and heading down towards the end of Sector 2. He's 5th on the 3rd row of the grid. Not a bad starting position right now. Oh, Rassam disqualified from the session then for being parked in a dangerous location. Not entirely sure how he ended up in this situation, but Rassam disqualified from qualifying today and sent to the back of the grid. Not ideal at all. Mbulk then, he is at the back of the grid too, joining him after retiring from the session today. But Dave the Scrub at the moment, the man on pole position. Lee Dog's in second place, still in the pit lane, sorry. Dave the Scrub is out there. He's invalidated this go around, but he's going to really, really give it his best shot now then, ladies and gentlemen, to go again and improve that time and extend that pole margin to Lee Dog behind. He knows Lee Dog is quick. He knows he will not fail to give him competition. This is going to be a hard job then for Dave to get some more time and improve on that already very decent lap. He is finding time in the first sector at the moment, I believe. Oh, never mind. The rears slide out. He's backed off. He is backed off, and I think he's going to give it another go after this. It might all be crumbling down then for Dave the Scrub, ladies and gentlemen. He's got the drivers behind him out of the pit lane now and going to be getting ready to go round for their final qualifying time. Lee Dog on an out lap then, and it is definitely here between the front few guys of Dave and Lee Dog, maybe even a Kindenos because he's a tenth of a second off. Expect, the top three are probably all within reach of pole at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. So keep your eyes peeled. Dave the Scrub's already out there, and we'll be going on a lap again after this one. He did back off after messing up the first corner. But a very good qualifying session so far. Dave, the man in front. Which way is this going to go? I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you, and I'm so excited to find out. I hope you're feeling the same then. Lee Dog heading around the final couple corners then. Here at the circuit of the Americas and looking to push for pole. Drivers in front of him heading on their laps too. He waits to build a gap. And this is it. Here we go. Final corner for Lee Dog. This is where it all begins then. Dave the Scrub as well around the final corner. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Kindenos already through the first set of corners. We're going to watch all three along then on these final laps because I believe these are all definitely favourites for pole. Kindenos through the first sector then, through the S's now, keeping it very nice and neat. And he's down by 100th of a second in sector one. Lee Dog heading through the first sector now as he found time in the first sector. Lee Dog's down by 400ths of a second then. Dave the Scrub through the first sector. Dave is up by half a tenth of a second. The only man to improve out of the top three at the moment then, ladies and gentlemen. This is looking exceptionally good then for Dave the Scrub at the front today, who's currently marginally ahead of Lee Dog on qualifying time. And out of the top three, he's the only driver to improve in the first sector. Kindenos then heading through towards the end of the second sector. He has found nearly 2/10 of a second in the middle sector today. Lee Dog heads into the middle sector. Has he found any time here in qualifying then, everybody? He's up by 1/10 of a second. Dave the Scrub going to need even more than that if he wants to improve then. He is down by 900ths. Dave will not be improving middle sector. Here comes a Kindenos then, ladies and gentlemen. Round the final two corners and on for pole position here in the circuit of the Americas. The fourth round of the season for PGS Sports Realistic. The rears slide out. He catches it in a slide. Kindenos on pole. Dave the Scrub round the final corner with Lee Dog. Lee Dog's invalidated. Dave spins around everybody. Kindenos snatches pole position away from Dave and Lee Dog. Wow. Just wow. At the end of that one, Kindenos pole position by 100th of a second to Dave the Scrub in second place. Incredible qualifying session, ladies and gentlemen. I think the judge might be heading around the final corner now. Last time in the day for him. Has he found any time? He does get up to P10 with a 4/10 improvement. Brilliant qualifying. Kindenos on pole position here in the circuit of the Americas. Here we go then, finishing results, ladies and gentlemen, of your qualifying session. Kindenos on pole position by, wow, 1200ths of a second. It is so marginal. Then we've got Dave the Scrub, second place. Look at the gap between your top three. Look at that gap. qualifying was so close today. It is Dave the Scrub joining a Kindenot on the second row of the grid. Lee Dog lines up in third. Hawkeye 4, joined by Ryan 5. Luke Bailey 6. Good qualify from Luke Bailey. 7 Nedzo. 8 is Ghost. 9 Paparin. 10 The Judge. 11 Flavor. 12 Wolfie Plays. 13 Salguero. 14 Tiger B. 15 M-Bulk. And 16 is Rassam, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is your Grand Prix. We'll see you very, very shortly. Grand Prix up in a few moments' time then, ladies and gentlemen. Good show in the chat tonight. 9 people in the Jack Crossley comms and even more in the PGS Esports Realistic this evening. Good to see you all tonight, where we are getting ready and gearing up then for the 4th round of the season here in PGS Esports Realistic tier. And I am absolutely buzzing for it. I really, really am. That qualifying separated so marginally between the top 3 today. Who's going to take it? Who is going to take it? It is all up for grabs tonight. Wow, Decker's joined us in the chat. It's good to see you, mate. Good to see you in. Before the race starts as well, everybody, really, really quickly, I want to get in. On the 13th of December, if anybody's interested, 13th of December, 7 p.m, I am hosting a short qualifying 50% race. It'll be £10. For each driver to enter as a one-off, and it'll be race winner winning £100 if you win. Second place will be £50. Third place will be £25. So if you are interested in that, please send me a message and I'll get you involved. But the stream will be absolutely all out for that. It will be amazing. Race intro and everything. It should be great. So if that is something that interests you, for £10 you can get yourselves involved in that big stream and be one of the drivers on the grid. M-Bulk then, everybody, has just said that we are going, so get ready for it to appear. Dave says, would have improved, but had flavour right in front of me. Dave could have been on pole position, ladies and gentlemen. He says that in the chat. Wouldn't that have been nice to see again? It's been too long. Too long then. But the race about to begin. No formation lap here in the PGS Esports Realistic. We get straight on with it. Ahead of the drivers then. Here we go then. 5 lights here at the Circuit of the Americas. It is lights out and away we go. Kindenos off the line brilliantly then up towards turn 1. Lee Dog's going to try and give him some competition. Dave the Scrub already drops down many places. Dave goes down to P4 through the first set of corners. Kindenos loses his rears. Gets overtaken multiple times through the first few corners. Lee Dog leads then through the first set of corners here. Dave the Scrub back into second place. Hawkeye goes into third then. Kindenos 4. Arctic Ryan, in 5 now, trying to fight with Kindenos ahead of him. Luke Bailey in 6, still in the same place where he started. The Judge 7. Here comes Nedzo Racing then getting into 8 as Ghost tries to fight back in 9, but he's completely defenseless today as through goes Nedzo Racing into P8. Rassam has got a brilliant view on this one, and now he wants to try and get a bit of a taking on this. Up the inside line, it is 2. Up the inside he goes on. Contact made, then he spins around, everybody, is Rassam at the back of the grid nearly now. They fight all the way down the back straight as Wolfie Plays fighting with Flavour, heading down fighting for P11. Flavor does take that for now. 11th place is his, heading into the left-hander. Coming from really far back is the Red Bull of M. Bulk then, getting ever closer, but not close enough for a move. Wolfie Blaze now trying to fight back up the inside line. He's not letting this one go so easily through the final set of corners here today. Wolfie's going to get the outside line here in a disadvantage, which leaves him open to M. Bulk up the inside line. Can Wolfie try and stay ahead? He cannot. Loses a place there to M. Bulk, but Rassam wasn't able to do it. The Red Bull of M. Bulk losing his rears. Look at that. All over the shop then, heading around the final few corners. Running off wide. Rassam runs off wide with him. He's going to try around the outside line into the final corner. Great move for Rassam. He makes a place up then. Salguero and M. Bulk at the back of the grid are giving it absolutely everything. Will M. Bulk make a move up the inside line here then, ladies and gentlemen? Will he break later to try and get up the inside and take that 14th position? He's pushing him through, but he wasn't enough for a move, and now he has to settle for P15. Let's go to the front of the grid then, with Lee Dog in the Kick Sauber this afternoon, of course, as the drivers here for the realistic tier get put in the cars that, would even out the pace, really, of the grid. And that is why a fast driver, of course, gets put in the slower car, like Lee Dog up at the front here today. The Kick Sauber, I believe, the slowest car on the grid. Not entirely sure, though, as he does lead at the moment. Dave the Scrub, second place. Hawkeye, third. Akindanos, who started on pole position, loses places, and he's all the way down to fourth at the moment. It's the judge in Arctic Ryan, 5 and 6. Through goes the judge into 5 then. Ryan has to wait his turn and drop back, concede that position. Luke Bailey now has to concede one. He's down to 8. He started 6 then, and he's down 2 places, unfortunately. Your race strategy on your screen, then the 1 stop and the 2 stop, the medium hard and the medium soft hard then. That is your tyre strategy this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Lap 2 of 28, soon to come to an end then, here at the Circuit of the Americas. I feel like I've done so much talking already as the drivers head round the final corner, with Lee Dog still being your race leader. How long will it be before he gets fully contested into turn 1? Dave the Scrub is already planning on doing that, and he's taking the fastest lap as well. It's fair to say Dave the Scrub is completely back this afternoon, and we are seeing a re-energized version of himself. He's back once more and showing his world champion colours today. I'm very looking forward to see which way this goes later on in the race. He's putting pressure on the fastest driver on the grid at the moment. Look how close he's getting. Then you can see from the helicopter cam here. Look at how close he can run without even touching him as they head through and towards the back straight in a few moments' time. Still, Lee Dog leads then at the moment. Dave trying to keep on the backside, and he's definitely done enough work here to allow himself DRS on that back straight. So if he breaks a bit later, he could allow himself the inside into the final few corners and possibly make a slip through. Is this the first time we see Dave the Scrub in the race lead today then? He's going to dive up the inside. He makes the pass through past Lee Dog, and he gets ahead today at the Circuit of the Americas in the USA. Dave the Scrub leads. Wow. Lee Dog second place, Akindanos third. Hawkeye then drops down to 4. All the positions changing on this lap around at the moment, as here we have Dave leading ahead of Lee Dog through the left-hander, and he's held it there. That's normally where you get a bit of a disadvantage. The gap up the inside opens and Lee Dog can slide his way through. That was not the case today, as Dave the Scrub is that man in front, and now he's going to try and keep himself ahead. Yellow flag shown in the middle sector here, then the final sector actually, sorry. Not entirely sure who that was, but whatever it was, it's been cleared up very fast indeed. Heading into the first corner then, will Lee Dog try and challenge him up the inside? Not available. Akindanos with a 3-second time penalty, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment in time, lap 4 of 28. Zach in the chat, how's Billy Mewis been recently? Are you asking me? Are you asking me? If you're asking me, I've got no idea. I really don't know. Hopefully he's been good, though. Hawkeye and Akindanos swap around, ladies and gentlemen. Hawkeye goes into 3rd place. Akindanos down to 4. As lap 4 of 28. 24 laps remaining of this Grand Prix tonight then, ladies and gents. Lee Dog ahead in the Kick Sauber. Dave the Scrub second place at the moment, and Hawkeye third. Akindinos sat in fourth position, joined by Arctic Ryan in 5. To judge 6 goes 7, Nedzo 8, 9 is Luke Bailey, and 10 is Papa Rim now, with Flavor getting ever close to him. Up the outside line, is Rassam trying to get a pass. Rassam wasn't able to pull it off. As that fight begins for the drivers, we head into the first corner. Lee Dog running away with this one. Then he did get back ahead through past Dave the Scrub then, ladies and gents. Dave is going to try and fight back as much as possible, but at the moment Lee Dog is doing a good job at staying ahead. A loss of the drivers then, opting for the medium compound of tyres this evening. Hopefully that strategy works out for them. We'll find out. But I'd say still a long while before we do find out exactly, which way that is going to go, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably going to be a little bit of a while, as this race only just getting started this evening. No move there for Dave, having to wait behind. Dex says, is he not still in WRC? He is, mate. I think he's been doing decently in the races, to be fair. I can't remember where he placed, actually, on Tuesday, but I think it was pretty high. He's doing, I think, second place in the championship for him, just behind Mikey Boy. Papa Rim gets through past Rassam. Rassam sends the car up the inside line, pushing him off wide. They go side by side. Papa Rim gets pushed to the outside now then, and he drops down to P12. Rassam just about gets ahead of that one, ladies and gents. As Lee Dog, your race leader, Dave the Scrub, this time again, not able to make that pass that people are waiting for. Westwood in the chat, Lee versus Dave, good to see you, mate. Hopefully you're doing okay. Thanks for joining us tonight in the chat. Lee versus Dave, you are absolutely right. This is what we're here to see. Behind that as well is Akindinos and Hawkeye having a bit of a scrap on the grid right now. Will Akindinos make that move? At the moment, it isn't looking like it, but there will be a chance to do that soon. Arctic Ryan is also on the scene, and this is a pretty fast driver. He's really making his way through the order today. He started in P5, and at the minute, looking like he wants to try and take that fourth position too. How greedy will he get? We shall find out as we look to the drivers in front then. Dave the Scrub to gain on your race leader. Will this be a move this time around? On the many times of asking, he looks for the gap, but he just doesn't have that edge over Lee Dog that he needs to get ahead. Hawkeye then with a 3-second time penalty, ladies and gents. Oh, something happened at the back there. I think Salguero might have lost his rears a bit. He did lose a position anyway. I'll tell you what, a very great race at the moment, ladies and gents. It was, I believe it was PGS last week where we had a really nice race. And the same is happening today. Arctic Ryan ahead of Hawkeye there, makes a pass. And the hard compound tyres for him, proving better than the mediums that Hawkeye's on. But is that the case for the drivers in front of him? Can Arctic Ryan make the passes through past the rest of the three drivers that occupy the places in front? That is a question to be asked, ladies and gents. As you've got Lee Dog in front, and we look for it again. Is this time going to be a bit different? I don't think it is, because you can see he gains, but he just doesn't have that edge over him to make that pass every lap. He's just there behind. He was a bit close this time around, but it still just wasn't enough to make that full pass past him, unfortunately. We'll look down the grid then, see if there's any more going on. This is looking promising then. We've got Flavour, who was looking close there to Rassam. Still nothing come out of that one. But he will have the outside line, which, as you know, takes up the inside line. Now he's on the outside, tries to get ahead, not able to. I think Embalt went around as well at the back of the grid there. We've just missed. Arctic Ryan and Akindinos into the first corner. Ryan takes third place. He's on an absolute charge today from 5th on the grid, now into the podium places, and he's just going to get even better than this lap by lap. 20 laps remaining then, ladies and gentlemen, and Arctic Ryan in third place at the moment, pushing through that order. He's got 4.2 seconds to gain on Dave the Scrub in front, and I'll tell you what, he is chipping time away. He's stripping it back slowly but surely. And Arctic Ryan could be on for a second place here. It is more than likely if he can carry on at this pace. Absolutely more than likely if he can carry on at this pace, because really, really good stuff for him at the moment. After making a pass from P5 on the grid up to P4, now into P3. Oh, Leadog and Dave, what happened there? Dave maybe trying to get ahead. We unfortunately missed that one. Arctic Ryan and Akindinos are getting ever closer, and behind that is the judge in front of Hawkeye, who is not going to have a chance of getting through. He's a bit too far behind here for a pass. Still 20 laps to go, and it is far from over. The strategies haven't even came into play properly yet. Everybody really on the 7-lap hold. Hard and mediums hasn't really been changed, apart from Embalt, the only driver to be in the pit lane in this race so far. Are we going to get any pit stops soon on the 8th lap of the race, maybe, which we're going on to now? 9th lap, sorry. Pit stops still aren't coming in, so the drivers are feeling okay on these mediums, and the hards, of course, the hards are going to go even longer than the mediums, so I wouldn't even be thinking about pit stopping right now for them. The judge getting close here to Hawkeye. A possible pass around the outside line, which will be the inside into the S's. Can he stick his car ahead enough to get through? Oh, he goes around. Hawkeye spins the car, ladies and gentlemen. There was no room for him there. You could see him trying to catch it in a slide, and he did just that. But he drops down to 9th position. Place is lost there. Ghost and the judge then, 5th and 6th position for them in this race at the minute. You're looking at Ghost ahead. Are we going to get the judge maybe making a move? He's getting close there. You see he brakes later, gets a bit closer, but then, you know, sacrifices that advantage on the exit, unfortunately. As Embalt now picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's at the back of the grid this evening, so that isn't going to affect him that much. He's 33 seconds behind 15th position, so he's well out of it at the moment. As Akindinos makes the first proper pit stop today then. Here we go. The medium compound tyres, he's going to end them off today into the pit lane for Akindinos then, ladies and gents. Going on for the brand new medium compound, so it's a 2-stop strategy for this man. Wolfie Plays does the same. Will it be a 2-stop for him, or will he try and run the 1-stop to the end? It's a 1-stop strategy for Wolfie Plays. He's got 18 laps remaining now on hard compound tyres. Dave the Scrub with 3-second penalty as well. He does not want to be getting that with Leadog in front of him. 2.6 seconds now. Leadog does break the gap. Deck in the chat, I'm predicting Ghost ends up on the podium today, he says. Maybe. Could happen. I think Arctic Ryan's going to get ahead of Dave at some point. I really do. he's bringing it down. The gap's 2 seconds. Remember, it was like nearly 4, I think. 3.9 or something like that. And he's bringing it down massively. These hards clearly working a little bit better than the medium compound tyres of Dave, which must have worn off quite a bit by now. 10 laps in, they're going to be experiencing a bit of wear. And Arctic Ryan, of course, won't really be suffering from that as much on the hards. Hawkeye with a 3-second penalty, then Dave the Scrub in the pit lane. Now it's time for his strategy to come into play, and the mediums get swapped out for the hards. He is going to extend to the end on the hard compound tyres, ladies and gentlemen. One-stop strategy for Dave. There's Deck in the chat. Can you see how many channel points people have? Honestly, mate, I've got no clue. Really don't know. Oh, Hawkeye's in the pit lane as well, ladies and gents. Hawkeye comes out on the hard compound. I don't know what he was on before. I'm assuming the mediums, because majority were on the mediums, but the hards are now starting to become the most common tyre on the grid, because pit stops are starting to come in. As Ghost with a 3-second time penalty. Time penalty slowly but surely starting to crop up on the grid. Would you look at the gap then between 1 and 2? It's 4.9 seconds at the moment, and it's a strong gap. It really is. If you remember earlier on, Lee Dog and Arctic Ryan, they were battling away quite hard as well, and now that is just nowhere to be seen. Arctic Ryan, second place at the moment, of course. Dave is down in 10, has made that pit stop. Arctic Ryan hasn't. But, even then, the gap between Lee Dog and Arctic Ryan, it's 4.3. Can Arctic Ryan bring it down? Has he got pace over Lee Dog is the question. We'll find out. I mean, this is where you'll see if the hards are better than the mediums. At the minute, the evidence is showing that the hards have been a bit better than the mediums, depending on which driver really drives with that tyre. It really does. But lap 12 of 28 then, ladies and gents. And we are slowly but surely approaching that half race distance. Lap 14 will be half race distance. I thought I spotted some wing damage there, but clearly not. The drivers, no wing damage for most of the drivers here that is visible, which is good to see. But the gap between Lee Dog and Arctic Ryan, 4.1 at the moment. Arctic round into the final corner on lap 12 now, beginning lap 13. And Lee Dog extending these mediums as long as possible. And he's making it work, extremely well. He's sticking ahead of Arctic Ryan. He's not losing any time to drivers behind. In the pit lane now, fighting for the position. Nedzo and Flavor. Nedzo and DeJudge, my bad. DeJudge gets ahead of Nedzo. Both into the pit lane now. Whoa, into the first corner. Hawkeye and Nedzo come out side by side. Look at this battle here. Hawkeye gets into 12. As Embolt now picks up a penalty at the exact same time. Can Neto try and fight back here on the brand new medium, on the brand new hard compound tyres then? I don't think he will at the moment. Ahead of that is Rassam and Dave. Dave makes a move into 8th position. Rassam's going to try and fight him back for it though. Cannot do so at the moment as Dave the Scrub burning his ERS to stay in front then of the Racing Bull. He's done exactly that. And Dave stays into 8th position. Now he's still got some places to gain to get himself back up there. Bearing in mind a lot of drivers in front of him have not made those pit stops yet. So he's got to wait and then see where he comes out. But at the moment it's looking like Lee Dog will still be the man in front. The gap he's still maintaining to Arctic Ryan's pretty impressive. This long on the older tyres. Only dropped about 0.3 of a second then in the past few laps to Arctic Ryan. Slowly but surely it's come down a little bit. But then you see that, 4 seconds, it bumps right back up again. And that's the thing. Lee Dog's great at tyre management and extending them out. He really is. His half race distance is hit. Wolfie plays with a 3-second time penalty, ladies and gents. 3-second time penalty to him. And Akindinos gets one as well. Yellow flags for somebody. It's Salguero who has spun the car around, ladies and gentlemen, finding himself down in P15 as he enters the pit lane. Will he be retiring in the pit lane? I think he might be. I think that's it for his race. Unless he's just going for new tyres. Or is it a new wing he needs? It's a new wing he needs. Yeah, new wing gets on in the chat. Who do you think's going to get eliminated on a celeb? Got to be Lisa. Oh, I completely agree. Lisa's going, mate. Lisa is definitely going. Big train of drivers forming in the middle of the pack here. Embolt with a 3-second time penalty, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Dog, ladies and gents, in the pit lane. This is it. This is where you're going to try and see which way it's going to go. This is going to get exciting now. Lee Dog in the pit lane. Will he come out ahead of Dave the Scrub? Looking quite likely at the moment. Dave the Scrub heading down, or will he get ahead? Dave is going to get ahead of Lee Dog, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Dog exits the pit lane. He loses positions. He comes out behind Dave the Scrub. Dave's, rear sliding out there. But Dave's strategy working here quite good here. Lee Dog comes out on the brand new hard compound tyres, but he has gone longer than Dave, meaning Lee Dog will hold the advantage in his hands. Yeah, Deck, I completely agree, mate. Eddie was a proper sound guy as well. He's really good on the show. Oh, Dave picks up a 3-second time penalty, ladies and gents, on lap 15 of 28. That's his 6th second to him now. Bearing in mind, Lee Dog hasn't got a single penalty, and this is what separates the drivers up. You know, some will get penalties, some won't, and the penalties will really throw a spanner in the works and mess it up completely for you. As Akindinos and Papa Rim in P5 and 6. Akindinos goes into 5th position. Papa Rim goes into 6th. Oh, up the inside line. Who will come out ahead then, ladies and gents? Papa Rim has to drop back. Dave goes into 6th, and now that is one car separating the rivals of the race today. If Dave and Lee Dog. Wolfie picks up another time penalty. 9 seconds now to his name. Must be struggling on those tyres then, after, you know, getting many track limit warnings and getting himself off the track. With Arctic Ryan being your race leader, has he even pitted? I don't know. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing, my bad. He has not pitted today. Same as the whole of the top 4, actually, and the P8 and P9 still need to go into that pit lane.
Exit for Emery.
Yellow flags then, ladies and gentlemen, is in the pit lane as Wolfie plays and retiring from the session. He is out of tonight's Grand Prix. Wolfie in the chat got side pod damage, he said. That is really unfortunate, and you can't really go back when something like that happens. Completely ruins the race up for you, unfortunately. Wolfie with a bit of side pod damage into the pit lane and has to retire the car. Lap 17 of 28 then. Pit stops coming in then. Ghost, Luke Bailey and Flavour in the pit lane now then, ladies and gents. Having the same strategy calls here. All getting brand new tyres on. Ghost on the mediums. Mediums for all three of them, in fact. As more follow into the pit lane. Tiger B does the same thing. I don't know if anybody else is going to do that, but a lot of drivers into the pit lane now. We've got Flavour coming out in P9. The judge now has got Luke Bailey in front of him as he's going to fight up the inside line. He's going to try and take this position if possible. They go side by side through the S's, not leaving a lot of room there is the judge as he gets through and past. A brilliant move made by him as Luke Bailey fights back up the inside line. Contact is made. He loses his rears, gets off-putted there, and both the cars of the judge and Flavour managed to slip through up the inside line, ladies and gentlemen. Luke Bailey gets punted off there, loses places to two guys, and Hawkeye's going to do the exact same thing up the inside, try and get ahead. But ahead of that is Flavour and the judge. The judge then trying to get ahead of Flavour. They go side by side. Flavour goes into P7. Great move past him now as yellow flags in front of the drivers. Not entirely sure. Someone went around there maybe. As Arctic Ryan goes into the pit lane with an 11-second advantage to the guys behind at the moment. He will lose these positions then after going into the pit lane. He will lose a few places, but I can't imagine it's going to be many then. He's going to come out in P4, I believe. There you have it. Pit stop for Arctic Ryan. He'll be coming out now. Second place for him, but he's going to lose these places, unfortunately. In the pit lane is Papa Rim. Oh, up the inside line, Flavour on Luke Bailey. They go side by side. The judge into Flavour, sorry, no, the judge into 7. My bad, not Flavour. As Luke Bailey goes through, the judge into 8 now, drops down a position. Hawkeye in 9. Hawkeye with a 3-second time penalty, and they are starting to add up now for the drivers. Biggest is for Embolk in 15 seconds. Arctic Ryan now picks up his first of the day as well, and he really was a driver that probably didn't want to get one because he would jump the order massively today if he didn't have a time penalty. Although the drivers in front of him have got 6 seconds, so at the moment he still isn't really at a disadvantage now with this penalty. Not really going to mean a lot because the drivers in front have got even bigger penalties, so that will cancel itself out. 10 laps remaining then here in PGS Esports Realistic Tier, and Lead Dog is dominating up at the front by 6.9 seconds. Dave the Scrub in third with a Kindinos in front of him in his sights in second place, 7 seconds off of the race leader. Look at this then, P2, 3 and 4, all having a lovely battle as through goes Arctic Ryan. Dave the Scrub dropping a place there. Looks a bit intentional actually, that did. It's Arctic Ryan now looking for second place. He's on an absolute charge from 5th on the grid. He's absolutely brilliant today, is Arctic Ryan. Finding places, ladies and gentlemen. Third place at the moment as he goes to gain on a Kindinos up the inside line. Will it be enough for second place? It will be enough for second place. And from 5th Arctic Ryan is on second place today here in the Circuit of the Americas. Dave the Scrub sends it back up the inside. He takes third place. And Akindinos, who started on pole position, is down to fourth place. Oh, Akindinos up the inside into the pit lane now. Dave the Scrub around the final corner. He takes third. Akindinos with a 10-second penalty for multiple warnings. Up the inside line, look at this move here, Hawkeye on Rassam, Rassam on the outside here, Hawkeye doing his best to get through, 8th position is his, he's going to try and take it, but the Alpine on the outside, Papa Rim on the outside tries to take that one away, and he does take it in 8th place. Hawkeye now gets a 3-second time penalty because of that. As Rassam in 10 trying to gain on Hawkeye. If possible, ladies and gents, Salguero leaves the session. Maybe some connection issues there for him, as his AI will take over. 8 laps to go. How do you think UAE race going to go, says Deck? Oh, I don't know. I think it might go to Lando, but I honestly think Max has got a good chance. I really do. Side by side, Rassam goes into 9th position. Embolt then, ladies and gentlemen, with a 3-second time penalty. More penalties on the grid. It's Hawkeye trying to get back ahead, but it just isn't possible for him at the moment then. Oh, punting in from the backside. Let's look ahead at this one then. Nedzo into 7. Papa Rim is going to try and get ahead in 8th place right now. Heading round into the flying left-hander, ladies and gentlemen, into the last corner. Can Papa Rim go for 7th position? Akindinos, Hawkeye in P10 and 11th position. Here comes Hawkeye to make a move. The Haskar loses his rears, looking very iffy on the exit there, as now Hawkeye makes contact on the rear side of him and he loses his footing a little bit too. As they exit out and round off onto the back straight, ladies and gentlemen, with Leadog still being your race leader by 8.3 seconds, and it's really strong going for Leadog at the moment, ahead of Arctic Ryan, having a great race as well, who did start on 5th place like I've mentioned, and up to 2nd position today. Akindinos and Rassam swapping positions here. Akindinos will have the inside line, but made a bit of contact there, forcing him off wide and losing his chance to get back through there, unfortunately. But we have had the majority of our pit stops then. Not too long left of this race. Still maybe some pit stops to come in. There is some soft compound tyre runners that have gone into the pit lane then. I don't know if they're going to go to the end here. Akindinos with a 3-second time penalty as well. And the penalties are really starting to rack up for the drivers now as the race goes on. They really are. Trying to get ahead here is Akindinos again. He's got a lot of time penalties today, so his racing needs to make up for it. Trying to get ahead of Rassam if possible. Then Rassam's trying to get ahead of Nedzo Racing, as these guys have been at it all race long, ladies and gentlemen. Nedzo's in 8th position and keeping ahead at the moment. Can Rassam try and gain on him? Akindinos is not too far behind either. The back straight is coming up now. No move yet, but we have the DRS activated down here for these back two drivers of Akindinos and Rassam. Through goes Akindinos to get into 9th place. Can he make a move on Nedzo Racing as well? Getting ever closer. Will he be able to outbrake him up the inside line? He goes for one move. He tries for the other. He can't get ahead of this man at the moment, but he is going to try and get around the outside line here to get through. He still can't do it. Getting ever closer. Pushing on the rear side of him. Still can't get ahead in this race, ladies and gentlemen, with only, 5 laps left. Wow. Up the inside here, Akindinos fighting back. He takes 8th position, gets ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and a superb move allows Akindinos through to 8th position. Nedzo Racing 9 then in this race at this moment in time. Loses a position, Rassam down to 10. As Hawkeye Villarreal with a 3-second time penalty. Speaking of that, let's go with the time penalty, shall we? Because they have been racking up hugely all race long, and I can see some pretty big ones here today. As this battle's going to continue, the rear end snaps out here for Rassam. As actually Ghost, gets into 3rd place past Dave the Scrub. I think Deck actually called that in the chat earlier. Ghost's going to get on the podium, he said. He has done just that. However, the 9-second time penalty isn't really what he wants to be holding on to at the moment. It really isn't. It's going to throw him off quite a bit. Drivers around him on 6-second penalties, 3-second deficit to them. Nedzo now trying to get into 8th, and he's done just that. Oh, Akindinos with Rassam up the inside. Rassam tries to force his way through, and he has done that as well. He goes to 9. Dropping down to 10 is the pole sitter with 19 seconds of time penalties. Wolfie Plays leaves the session, of course, retired earlier on. Up the inside goes Rassam. He's going to get 8th position. Fighting back is Nedzo. He's not going to let it go that easily, is he? And he is back ahead and through. Ladies and gentlemen, a great move for him. Allows him a place back with a 3-second time penalty at the moment. Here comes Rassam on Nedzo again, round the outside line, braking later than him to allow himself to get through. This time, though, it didn't work like that, and Akindinos now finds that gap up the inside line. Fighting back once more, makes contact on the driver in front and gets pushed wide as Rassam makes that move through, looking for the inside line gap. Wasn't there for him, but he's going to continue pushing on today. As they head round to round off their lap 24, lap 25 for them to begin in a moment. This battle continues. Akindinos then in 9, trying to make that move. Up the inside then, tried to send it Rassam. He then decided to wait back. Not a move that he could make, unfortunately, as Rassam in 10 is going to leave it there for now. Akindinos in 9, Nedzo in 8. This battle continuing on all race long. Ahead of that, actually, we have also got Arctic Ryan, never mind, trying to make a pass on a back marker. Wolf in the chat says he's got 42.6k channel points. What does that actually mean? What does that actually mean? Oh no, Tiger B, everybody, has spun around. He's back on the circuit, but unfortunately, yeah, spinning the car around. And he's down in P13 today. Lead Dog 3-second time penalty. Now Lead Dog gets his first penalty, ladies and gents. But not really going to mean a lot because at the minute I think Arctic Ryan is struggling a little bit to gain on the man in front. But it would actually have played a big part if Ryan had the pace. Unfortunately, he has not at the moment. Akindanos looks for the move on the man in front of him. Not available at the moment. Getting closer there, though. Closest we've ever seen him for a little while. He still continues to push on in 9th place. As the drivers head down to the back straight again. Soon to be on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. How fast has this gone now? Oh, sorry, went off the wrong drivers. Hawkeye in 11 has got this battle to soon maybe start happening in front of him. Rassam with Akindanos in front. Akindanos actually gaining again on Nedzo Racing, who's been out of it for a little bit now. Wolfie says, I can use points to pin my messages and use emotes and make them cover the stream of little ones. Fair enough. But how have you actually accumulated that many points? Is it just from sitting? Oh no! Spinning around then! Akindanos and Rassam, everybody. Sorry, Akindanos and Hawkeye both going around. Must have sent it from a bit too far back there, and they both find themselves spinning on the track today. Really, really unfortunate. Massively unfortunate from them, and Nedzo now has got a clear path behind him. Rassam not too far behind. 3.2 seconds is that gap. By watching your stream every 1 minute I gain 60 points. Jeez, man. That's a lot of points you've gained then, isn't it? A lot of minutes watched. Lead Dog 10.4 seconds ahead of the pack. Soon to start his final lap of the race. It's been a greatly dominant race from him. Really has. Cannot believe that. Hawkeye sending his car, ladies and gentlemen. I was not expecting him to have that happen there. Dave the Scrub and Ghost now on the final 2 laps of the Grand Prix, having a good scrap away. Dave in 3rd place with Ghost just behind him. Will Ghost send it up the inside to take 3rd place on the grid today? He's got a 9-second penalty, meaning he probably would lose it anyway. He now loses the rears, and through goes Flavor into 4. We've got Luke Bailey getting closer now, and he could be on for 5th position here today. Getting close to Ghost, and it could be a move. The final lap of the race begins then. Up the inside line goes Luke Bailey. 5th place for him. Will Ghost be able to try and fight back? He will not for now. And on the final lap, Luke Bailey is into P5, and maybe even higher than that if he can gain on the guys in front. Flavor with Dave the Scrub in front of him. I thought he was going to make a late move up the inside there, but he stayed back and stayed, you know, quite conserved about it. Akindanos with another 3-second time penalty. As the battle at the end is shaping up to be quite good indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Really good indeed with the drivers. Flavor trying to gain on Dave the Scrub, who has got a less of a time penalty here, and Flavor's on the podium at this rate. Rassam retires on the track then, ladies and gentlemen. Rassam is out of the Grand Prix here today after hitting the barrier on the last lap of the race. He is completely out of this one as the drivers head down onto the back straight. The rear sliding out there for Dave the Scrub. Flavor's going to try and catch him. 3-second deficit on penalties, meaning that he is at an advantage today. But Lee Dog heading round the final few corners then, ladies and gentlemen. He's been so dominant today. We nearly forgot about the man. He was so far in front. He has absolutely driven a brilliant race. He crosses the line to win here in the Circuit of the Americas, here in PGS Esports Realistic. A great race from Lee Dog. Allows him a race win this season. Arctic Ryan comes towards the line now. It'll be second place for him. Brilliant stuff from him. Dave the Scrub fighting for third, but he will not be able to take it today as Flavor comes behind that in 4 and will snatch that podium place away. Heading round the final corner then, ladies and gentlemen. Dave the Scrub for a podium on the track, but Flavor will snatch it on penalties over the line. Luke Bailey gets 4th at the end of that. Now 5th as Papa Rim. Look at that. Papa Rim, ladies and gentlemen, takes a podium after not getting any time penalties. Flavor takes 4, Luke Bailey 5, Dave the Scrub 6, Nedzo 7. It is 8 for Ghost, 9 for Hawkeye when he crosses the line now. The judge will cross the line in P10 when he finally gets there. Wow, 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 wow. Good ending that, ladies and gentlemen. The judge in 9. Hawkeye gets 10th position at the end of that. With Akindanos heading round then towards the line now then to round his race off in P11, but he will drop back because Tiger B without a time penalty here. Round the final corner then, ladies and gentlemen. Tiger B into 11. That is one thing we haven't really made a big thing about, actually, everybody. Just seen it in the chat. Arctic Ryan from 5th on the grid, managing to take 2nd place. Strong stuff from him. Really good. Very good indeed, and good for everybody. Great race from the drivers. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Here is your finishing results then. It is Lee Dog in the kick Sauber this evening, winning the Grand Prix here for the Circuit of the Americas. Maximum points for him. Arctic Ryan 2nd place. Papa Rim 3rd then, joined by Flavor 4. Luke Bailey 5 then. 6 is Dave the Scrub. 7 Nedzo. 8 Ghost. 9 the Judge. And 10 is Hawkeye. 11 Tiger B. 12 Akindanos. 13 Mbulk. 14 would have been Ras Sambani invalidated. Sorry, he retired. And Salguera and Wolfie Plays all retired as well. Thank you very much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen, for yet again another PGS Esports Realistic stream. It's been great to be the commentator for it again tonight, and we'll be back for the 5th round of the season. See you later, and good night.